Hi everyone, it's Norman Kochnick here for Eyes on Cricket. I'm here again. I've just had about an hour, a bit over an hour, with a lovely man called Kushan Sakar, who has co-authored the book with Buri Majunda called basically a Mission Domination. It was called Mission Domination, and an unfinished quest, because India clearly are in about the third or fourth year, potentially 8 or 9 year cycle of being dominant on the world circuit of cricket. They've won Border Gavaskar Trophy in Australia earlier this year. They've won the De Mello Trophy there in India, and then they went on to win the Patality Trophy in England. Well, it's not been made official yet, and there's been still some conjecture as to whether it's moved from being a forfeit to called off, to cancellation, to postponement, to the last test will be played sometime next year. All sorts of bizarre issues, but realistically, India won the series 2-1, no matter what anyone says. I can't even imagine that you would try to include a test match a year later in the overall statistics of a series being held here just now. So it's my opinion, this is a 2-1 victory to India over England. And any other series, test match, whatever you want to call it later, the reality is it's not a part of it. So what is the result, Norman? Tenzing Lama, are you talking about the South Sydney Rabbitohs versus the Penrith Panthers? South Sydney won 16-10 against Penrith, which was great. I don't believe that there's any... So Tenzing Lama, it is absolutely categorically not 2-all. Under no circumstances is it 2-all. It can only be 2-1. And if they play a fifth test match in the 12th of Never, which will be 2022 or wherever they're going to play it, we're basically saying that effectively that that's a separate match, standalone on its own next year. But this series, which is now concluded time-wise, it's not like the IPL where only half is played, another half to be played. This is, it's done and dusted as far as I'm concerned. It's 2-1, 4 tests, 1 draw, and a fifth test, which was no result, at least not a part of this series. It may be added on next year to circumvent financial issues that I think England are talking about 60-odd million pounds or dollars, which they're in the red about. Well, look, I'm actually really super-duper annoyed about this. Look at Australia. They're CGMC. We haven't played test matches here for a long time. It looks like we're not going to be getting full capacity in the future. We're losing money hand over fist. We're not seeing rugby matches, cricket matches, soccer matches, whatever. The reality is that we're losing money hand over fist here as well. Bad luck. England's losing money as well. IPL are losing money. The World Cup will lose money. They won't have a crowd properly there. The cricket, rugby, soccer, AFL, bloody, I don't care what sports you've got. We're all losing money. People aren't able to work. They're quarantined to their houses. So don't whinge about your damn financial situation, England. You're no different to anyone else. And to force India to pay, India are thinking about their well-being. I don't care what they say. It's not underhanded. England are going to say, no, it's not. The reality is that the players, their damn assistant physio and their coach and whomever else in that coaching staff had COVID-19. Those players were being touched, massaged, prepared, in close contact with these guys. It may have taken 2 or 3 days. We still might hear about the COVID-19 outbreak. They were being concerned. Now, good on that. We're hearing that was a whole bunch of English players that are not going to the IPL. That's their choice. No one's saying that. I'm not upset with them. If they choose not to go, that's their problem. If they're worried with the COVID-19 situation, well, then I respect that greatly. Because it's sure as hell it can't be based on the financial reasons not to go. The Australian players have almost exclusively played the IPL, and they didn't go to Bangladesh or West Indies because of COVID problems, but they're going to the IPL. So I'm sorry, what are they talking about? We didn't go to South Africa to play South Africa. Well, that was the decision made. All well and good. These are facts. Australia, India came very, very grateful. They came to Australia for the entire summer season, despite COVID being at a high as well. Put up with bubbles, did everything, down 9 players, they still played on, and they won that series, commendable. This time around, fatigue's set in. They've had enough, and the danger of being COVID-19 positive, which could still happen. But the reality is they may have their family now there with them. They're about to head for another country, IPL and World Cup, and there'll be a whole string of reasons to not have had a match. And it may well be the best thing ever. If you do not feel for okay. So hang on. If you do not feel for Manchester fans, I do feel sorry. It's very, very unfortunate that they couldn't sit again. But what about Australian fans? We're not seeing any Test cricket here at all. Most of the summer we're only half full. We were not in their full capacity, so we missed out too. I'm an SCG member. I pay $1,000 for my SCG membership. I've seen 9 games this season so far. That's not the SCG's fault. It's not my fault. It's COVID's fault. So don't complain, Manchester fans. I'm sorry for you. That's just fact of life. Then why did you go to the first 4 Test matches then? It's in your country. You know, I don't feel for them. I feel for them, but for God's sake, England is so lucky because they've got so many other tournaments happening as we speak. They've got Ronaldo, I think, playing next door. I think whatever he's doing, they've got plenty of sports going on, and relatively full crowds. We haven't got that. We're locked in our rooms here in Sydney. We're complaining about it, yeah, but we're not going to be any more or less sympathetic for someone in Manchester. Bad luck. It happened. Okay, Lancashire lost money. So have Australia, South Africa, England, West Indies, Indonesia from tourism, Thailand from tourism, you know, you name it. Fiji hasn't had tourists go in the country. New Zealand's been shut up shop. Northern Queensland's had no tourism. So what, are you going to feel sorry for us now? Why should we feel sorry about Manchester and Lancashire over anyone else? It's over. The Test match should be damn well stopped. It was stopped, even though it was late, and that's unfortunate. They probably tried their level best to play it, and it didn't work out. So be it. Move on. End the series. 2-1. Done. This squabbling for money. I'm not impressed by that. It annoys the hell out of me. We've completely forgotten about a fantastic Test series where 4 matches were incredibly enthralling and engrossing, where 4 teams, 4 games, and 4 grounds had virtual maximum capacity. There was lots of hoopla. 1 ground misses out. Okay, so what? They got 4 out of 5. They'd be bloody lucky they got 4 out of 5. We make it nothing here in Australia later this year. The way our state premiers are such buffoons, such nincompoops, that they're acting. I think Jim Maxwell's words were brilliant when he called our country, a Commonwealth with 8 republics. He's not wrong. Well, we had a war with when Palaszczuk, who nincompoops in Queensland, supporters here in Sydney. Oh, I don't think so. I'm sorry. Queensland border's shut. So, we've got our issues here in Australia too. But do you feel sorry for us? No. India had no crowds at their main stadium, Ahmedabad. Do we feel sorry for them any more than Manchester? I feel sorry for everybody. But don't single out Manchester to be hard done by. I mean, for God's sake, India didn't have any crowds at all their Ahmedabad games. They had nobody there. They had the guts to try. They had the guts to try the IPL of 29 matches. And when players started to fall, when the players started to fall with COVID-19, they stopped. You have to be respectful to Indian players. And don't just say, oh, we feel sorry for Manchester. Sargent, absolute garbage. I don't have any. Can Virat Kohli and co-answered all the fans who came to watch the match and being robbed? They haven't been. Look, Charles Manju, are you on another planet here? Why had they been robbed? They had 4 matches in the country. Okay, was Ahmedabad robbed? Was Delhi robbed? Was Chennai robbed? Was they didn't play any IPL matches? Were they robbed? Was Sydney robbed because they couldn't have? How many stadiums we're going to say have been robbed? Rubbish. Absolute garbage. I'm really over it. It's just sour grapes. I have to really question what's going on there. I really do. I've got no time for this. Exactly. Dave Sharp says it perfectly. Just grow up, Manchester fans. Everyone has lost 2 years of business. Why are they? What? Because they didn't make millions when they probably were in luxury to get anything at all. That's the way the cookie crumbles. I mean, this is bloody annoying. Get off, Sarju Munjik, how they've been robbed. Was Ahmedabad robbed? I can go on forever. South Africa's didn't have the Australians go there. Were they robbed? No, it was called off. Maybe it was overly cautious, but that's the way the world has been. We don't know how severe the situation is or has been or will be with the various strains going on. We've got no idea. I'm in Sydney here, a place which had 0 cases for 6, 7, 8, 9 months. Now we're sitting there like idiots, cooped up because not so much our state premiers, but our federal government prime minister had the brains to think about plan B and get us vaccinated early in the year when we had the chance to do it. And he's sitting on his hands now when it became a problem. He decided to do something, and we're still not fully vaccinated. It's got 40% too. That's rubbish. It's September. It'll be December before, I'm sure December before we can really safely say that a large majority have been vaccinated, which should have happened earlier in the year. So, they're the ones to blame. People who sat on their hands not making decisions. In England, I've got to commend them for the way that they've handled it. They handled it brilliantly. They've actually opened up the place. You had several tests there. This test was not done. You can't blame England for it, nor can you blame Ravi Shastri, nor can you blame Tom Harrison or the physio or Coley or absolute garbage. They went from being in a bio bubble. They relaxed that so they could actually go out and do things. And this book launch was totally and utterly acceptable because they're allowed to not be in a bio bubble anymore. And it happened to come their way. That's unfortunate. Had they stuck to the bio bubble for the teams, which wouldn't have been much fun, then maybe they wouldn't have had the situation and their game would have played play. So who do you blame then? Maybe you should blame the, not ACB, but blame the English government for making the decision to make everybody no longer in a bio bubble. And Lancashire, I'm sorry, that you were the fifth test. There was always discussion of even having a fifth test in Manchester was questionable because of the weather and the time of the year. Normally the last test is the Oval, so it's just onwards and upwards. Garam.
Hi, Norman. Good evening. And good evening to everybody online.
I'm just a bit annoyed about this, that the England fans are being robbed and Lancashire's being robbed. What a load of crap. Really, seriously. I mean, I don't care. Look, the Indian players, in my opinion, have done the right thing. If that's what they decided, so be it. It was late, yeah, because they probably tried to make the game happen. But, if they've got an assistant, I mean, Michael Vaughan even said it. There's money. Money's an issue here, but we could talk about Ahmedabad, couldn't we, in India? We could talk about Australia, South Africa, every other country under the sun. Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, tourism, they're all disappeared too. What are we saying, they were robbed? No. The Lancashire crowd, unfortunately, the decision was made late, yes, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. Let's end the series. I keep saying that. But, yeah, I'm hearing that a few England players are not playing. Did you see that?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like something like a revenge thing or what? Because this again is also
that's stupid. That's really stupid, isn't it?
Yeah, because this might make the relations between the BCCI and ECC go sour.
Yeah, but I don't think the BCCI have done anything wrong. I mean, okay, they had an IPL program to go to, but the players would still have had to go through quarantine to go there, no matter what. The reality is, if they had found out they were all positive on the third day of the test match, that would have been a disaster.
See, there is very valid argument from the Indian players' side also. Like, it's a very, very valid argument. The only thing, you should also know that BCCI has agreed to play one more test to compensate them the loss of money. That's the best thing that they can do. But the only thing that I disagree, I said.
Hi, Beram.
Hello, Sid, how are you?
Hi, Norman. I'm good.
No, the only thing I find it little weird right now is how come Rohit Sharma, Surya Kumar, and they have already traveled right now to the UAE. If they had an issue of the incubation period of them saying that 3 to 4 days is, after that you get it, them right now traveling to the UAE and being with the team is, I think it's detrimental. What if after 2 more days they actually turn out to be positive? Then the whole IPL also has gone in a soup.
So yeah, I'm a little bit. I didn't hear that. So Rohit Sharma and Sky have headed for UAE, have they?
They have already reached. They already reached there. They have already joined the team also.
So I thought that the players had another COVID test to have today or tomorrow. Is that not right?
They had the COVID test before leaving Manchester. It was a charter flight. They took a charter flight. Rohit Sharma, Surya Kumar Yadav, and one more, I don't forget the name. They landed in Abu Dhabi. They took a RT-PCR test there also, which also came negative. That's okay. But the whole point is them saying that why they did not do the test matches because they were worried that 3-4 days, and that's correct. See, even here in Philippines, when you land, they don't do the RT-PCR test. They do it only after 6 days, because that's correct. If you do on the first day, it turns negative, but actually it's after 3 to 4. But even 5 days later, that it comes out. But now Rohit Sharma and Surya Kumar traveling is like completely, and the whole reason given by
that was a bit silly. That was a bit silly. They could have waited a few.
I find it a little very weird.
Okay, all right, but I want you to answer this question. Answer these 2 points. This is what Sharjah Manuels answer that one. Then I'll follow up with another one. Read that. Garbage, isn't it? No one's been robbed.
They have nothing to answer. They have.
Okay.
People should realize this is COVID. The COVID times they are living in.
But this is what I think is a better comment. I think that the Manchester fans should grow up, because you know what? Lancashire, I'm sorry the game wasn't put on, pal, but you basically have a situation where you lost money. So has the whole world. I mentioned Ahmedabad didn't have people in the stadium. The Ahmedabad Cricket Council, or whatever you want to call it, go up in arms because they couldn't fill a brand new 120,000 seats. No, they understood it. It's rubbish.
No,
To say,
I totally disagree with that fact that the Ahmedabad and Chennai boards did not listen, or they did not agree to the fact that, we must keep the players isolated, or we should not get the fans in. There is a common trend, Norman and Behram, if you have to look at it from a very holistic point of view. The book launch, it all started from that book launch, which happened at the Oval. Imagine if the players had tested positive, the Oval test would not have happened on days 4 and 5. It would have been cancelled. Now,
true.
Ravi Shastri and the entire backroom staff tested positive. But were they in a bio bubble? No. In the United Kingdom, where was a bio bubble instituted? Boris Johnson and the UK government have laid this attitude that, we'll have to live with coronavirus. So, the same thing happened even in India when the test matches have been played to half the capacity. At that time, elections, at that time, a religious gathering was also happening. When cases rose to 4 lakhs per day, 400,000 a day, at that time they said, let us not have any more fans. Even we didn't learn our lessons. Even the UK is not learning lessons. Even today, 37,000 cases have come. At that point, and remember, the ECB are the last people to talk about it, because even the CEO, Tom Harrison, attended the book launch. If he wanted to make a difference, he would have very well not attended the book launch. So on what moral grounds are the ECB complaining about? Yes, they were untwisted clearly, like, India want to forfeit the test. If you have the guts, say it out clearly. But no, the BCCI, the hotlines were very, very hot between Ahmedabad and Manchester just before the test match. They were very hot. It was a clear ultimatum. India are unable to field an 11. I can very well understand that in coronavirus times, remember, the Indian team has been away from India since May, when they came over for the World Test Championship here. They have got family. So yes, apprehension is there. But the way how it was handled is a very sad day. You should have made that decision. You should have made that decision if Ravi Shastri and the entire backroom staff had tested positive. The decision should have been made at the Oval itself. Then
exactly. Look, buy a bubble or no buy a bubble. If you want a team of players to play a game of significant cricket between two countries, they should have stayed in a formal buy bubble regardless. There should have been no book launch, or it could have been done by Zoom, or God knows how. That's the reality. I don't care what Boris said, or any other Prime Minister. If you're smart about it, you keep the separation, because you know the importance of that game being played is based on players being protected from COVID. And a bloody book launch they shouldn't be going to. But you can't blame Shastri and the people to go there because they were allowed to go there.
They were allowed. I
to
mean,
go there.
yes, Norman. I mean, look, in all these 2 years, you've lost businesses. Matches have been played behind closed doors. They tried to portray a symbol of normalcy in the UK, despite the COVID situation. So yes, if you see, if Behram sees people around, why would I want to wear a mask? Why would I want to adhere to social distancing norms when the government itself doesn't care? Why do authorities don't want to care about it? So I will also be very relaxed. Okay, fine. It's happening. It's normal. Let me just go. That's how the human mindset is. Players' apprehension, this angle, like, oh, it's been done because the IPL holds prominence. Boss, you knew the schedule 6 months ago. COVID or no COVID. So attaching this with the IPL is total nonsense.
Absolutely.
Had the test match gone the full distance 14th, 6 days quarantine in Dubai, then that means Rohit Sharma would have missed the first game, regardless of it. Now he's gotten the chartered flight, he's going back. Yes, but if he tests positive in Dubai and he breaches the bubble, then we are in serious trouble, boss. Because as Behram says, this could have been a case of a false positive. It could have been a false negative. Like how it happened for England and South Africa. Too many false positive cases. But if Rohit tests positive, and if he breaches that bubble there, boss, we are in big trouble.
But I mean, how much are we going to start dragging series into the next year, into the next decade, whatever, because of these conditions? You can't do it. The sensible thing is to end the series here. That's it. Any game you play next year can be an extra game, call something different, whatever. But this tournament's finished. The matches, the time frame set, win, lose or draw or forfeit, not even forfeit, win, lose or draw, cancellation, whatever you want to call it, the series is finished.
Logic dictates. Series is given to India 2-1. The points for this are separated. 6 points to England, 6 points to India. Because it's an unprecedented situation. It's not as if India said, oh, we won't play the test. England said, no, we will not play the test. 6 points. But how this has been warped around is very, very sad. There were so many rumors from sources. These sources are your major problem while framing a story. Oh, the test match is going as per schedule. Oh, it's been postponed by 2 days. How could you postpone it for 2 days? That means you will play from 12th to 16th. Logically, did it make sense? With the IPL on the 19th? Can't make sense of it. Absolutely can't make sense of it.
I have 2 points here. See, number one, I see that the book launch is being unnecessarily made a scapegoat, as if that people are sure that that is the point where Ravi Shastri contacted COVID. It can't be made a scapegoat that way. The reason being, because what I understood, the hotel where all of them were staying itself was anybody could come in, anybody could go out, and it was like open. It was not as if the hotel was isolated. So that could have happened in the hotel also, and then
in the lift,
yeah.
No, but I think it was held in that same hotel, right, Behram? It was held in that same hotel where the team was staying.
That's not. I am not sure on that. They said they went, but in that book launch there were so many people. That Tim Harrison was there, Virat Kohli was there, and if somebody's catching it at a book launch, how can one person only catch it and nobody else catch it? That I find the book launch is unnecessarily being made a scapegoat over here.
But I just don't understand. What I don't understand is whether there's a bio bubble or not. And I'm not pointing to any individual here. If you're playing cricket for your country or you're a coach or whatever, and even if the country tells you, oh, you can do whatever you like, you use a bit of common sense that you don't, it could be the flu, for God's sake, could be conjunctivitis, could be anything. It doesn't have to be COVID. You don't mix with people that any elite athlete knows that they should keep separate. So I don't. It's no one's fault that it happened. And that's one thing. The other thing that we're going to get to, Behram, is the financial. That's their problem. I don't have any sympathy for them. Not bad luck.
But Norman, if you have to,
SCG's got nothing going on.
But Norman, if you have to look at the myopic nature of it, didn't Lancashire host a test against Pakistan behind closed doors, but still they had broadcast money? Didn't they? Look, again, whether you want people coming in, does that form part of your revenue, or you get the bigger chunk from television broadcasting? I don't know how the system is in the UK. But you did host a test match against Pakistan in Old Trafford. You hosted a test match against West Indies in that same COVID year. Now you're saying that, oh, India didn't come. That's again, it shows where the money matters really, where money really matters. But anyway, to sum it up on a very humorous note, India actually won the series 3-1. How? They had a positive result at the Oval. They had a positive result at Lords. And Ravi Shastri has also gotten a positive result. So it's 3-1 in India's favor.
Who's the one from England then?
The one was in Leeds. Leeds.
But I mean, look, if anyone begins to suggest that India deliberately didn't play this match so they win the series 2-1, has got rocks in their head. That was India. I'm sure Kohli would have wanted to play the match to win it. He wouldn't want to just disappear and not win it. So Kohli would be the last person to deliberately not play a match, to throw it by some COVID lie, just to make sure. That's rubbish, absolute rubbish.
I have one question. The physio Parmaru actually became positive. Was he part of the book launch? And then how did he? Nobody's talking that. How did he get positive? I don't think he was part of the book launch.
The assistant, he's the assistant physiotherapist. There's a physiotherapist and an assistant.
Yep.
And he was not the first group of close contacts also, who were with Ravi Shastri. He was not one of those close contacts. Nobody's talking on that line that how did Parmar actually...
I'll go with your theory then. Maybe he didn't get it from the book launch. Maybe he got it somewhere else. Maybe while travel. Perhaps while on travel from Oval to Manchester, he got it probably. Because remember, these guys are traveling by train. Pujara had shared a video where... had shared a photo wherein he says, now off to Manchester. Not Pujara, Ridhiman Saha. Ridhiman Saha had shared a photo. So these guys are traveling by train. Maybe it could have come at that time also. Who knows?
Maybe he caught it from one of the maids. Oh.
Uh-oh, I am not getting there. No. I'm really not getting there. Not getting there.
You're not getting it. Okay. I mean, okay. But the reality is, look, they should just bite the bullet and say, right, this series finished, done. If they want to make up monetarily later on, play a one-off game next year, whatever, the revenue goes to Lancashire. Okay, do that, fine. I don't care about that. But call the series finished, call it a 2-1 victory and done. And on top of that, don't allow a fifth test in Manchester in September with the weather, let alone COVID, when it's always been the final test of the Oval. Australia's making a whopping mistake too, potentially, by playing Perth as the last test. Why? Because with this COVID crap going on here, Perth won't allow people to come into Western Australia on the last test that they've been to Sydney or Melbourne before, right? As it stands now. So, in my opinion is, my honest opinion, don't play in WA at all. Because if they can't handle it, then they don't deserve it. If they're going to carry on like a pork chop, then it's not their own country. They're part of Australia. We're going to play it in Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane because that's where the biggest audiences are. If you don't want to put up with the WA, well, then you're not getting one. That's what I would say. Or you get it first.
They're not playing a test in Adelaide, Norman? In Adelaide?
They are. But
the ping ball test, right? You'll have to play the ping ball test there.
Yes. But the Western Australia, their border restrictions are you would have to crawl under several barbed wire fences to even have a chance of getting into the country, right? You'd have to have arms and legs cut off before you let in there, okay? They're not letting anyone in there, right? So then why are we going to bow to that one place? But quite frankly, I don't care if they get it at all, to be honest. The fact is, if Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, and Adelaide, in whatever order works best, let it happen. If Sydney should be the last test, because once you enter Sydney, if you're tainted by COVID, it won't matter. It's the last test, correct?
Yep.
So let Sydney be the last test, which it always pretty much was anyway.
26 years has been the last test. 26 years.
Yeah. Well, then pull your head in Western Australia. Go first. You be the first one. then you don't have to worry about anybody going anywhere. They go to your state first, then go to Queensland, which they're always worried about. Then head for the other states, which is supposedly like go Adelaide third. Then you go to Sydney, Melbourne, then Sydney, and then we're done. Then there'll be no COVID problems at all because Sydney is deemed to be the worst one at the moment. We've got thousands coming up. Well, let's be last. Correct? Is that common sense?
Yeah, but common sense seems to be missing in the cricket world nowadays, Norman, because priorities are taking a totally different thing altogether.
But the Oval was the last test traditionally in England. So why don't they make that the last test? Why don't they have Manchester earlier, for one? Sydney's traditionally the last test. Why are they even thinking about putting Perth after it? Put Sydney last and leave it Sydney last. Especially now. They have to act quickly on this. It's just common sense. Anyway, I'm sorry. It's just...
Norman, coming back to this last test, why are you not okay if, let's say, this happens next year and is part of the series? I'm okay with that. Means what's the issue with that?
Oh my God! How many seasons are we going to play for the previous season, next season, last season? It's rubbish. But if you have a test series now, it's finished now. Okay, unless there's a World War III, then maybe we'll not have it. But you have it now. Okay, COVID stopped the fifth test. There was no result, no play.
Let's not know World War III first.
Yeah, well, you know. But I mean, what I'm saying, the series is done and dusted. It's a series. It's a test series. You play it next year. What? We're going to bring back Ben Stokes then? Is India going to have some 12-year-old champion coming through? I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, you can't do that.
Again, Norman, the biasness has been exposed again. The ICC will take their own sweet time in deciding whether the fifth test will be played next year, which in all probability it might. But within one snap of the finger, the ICC will okay any series. Oh, Bangladesh series cancelled. Australia versus Bangladesh cancelled. This series cancelled because that doesn't bring them the money. Again, look at the biasness. The top three, India, Australia, and England, always will get first preference over anything. The rest of the teams, oh, you don't want to play a series, don't play the series. We don't care.
But it comes down to this.
That extremities is what is causing all the problems. The big three, we thought the big three was finished when Srinivasan was sacked. But the big three is even more prominent now, especially in COVID times. In this case, I have to commend the likes of West Indies and Pakistan. They could have very well said, oh, it's COVID time in the UK. It's at its peak. Why should we go? But they went.
Look at the Pakistan women's team. They've been at the 100. They're now in the West Indies playing. They were in Dubrovnik on the holiday. They had a great old time. They quarantined. They came from South Africa, not to London. They went to Dubrovnik and stayed on some resort, which was pretty good. Business class flights. They had a great old time. Look, You're right. I mean, the Australian South African series, why isn't that entire series being played next year? No, it's not, is it?
It's cancelled.
Gone, finished. Cancelled. So why are we not cancelling the fifth test and being done with it? Do you get my point now?
Yeah.
I don't want to play next year and have Ben Stokes suddenly playing and bloody...
I can sympathize. I can sympathize if this thing had happened before the first test. Then yes, you would have to reset because India-England, let us make no mistake about it, it is one of the biggest series. That's there. If it had happened before the first test, I would have said, yes, let us reschedule it. Should not be cancelled.
Yeah.
But it's happened in the fifth test. It's already the series is decided. Maybe every point matters, but then try telling it to the nations, the smaller nations whom you have cancelled it so recklessly. Bangladesh, just 0.5 points in that first cycle because 2 series got cancelled against Australia, against New Zealand. But no one raised the finger.
So explain to me, and Siddharth, explain to me how come Australia didn't send a full team to Bangladesh and to the West Indies to play in the T20 matches as a team leading up to World Cup, was the best practice, yet some of them are going to the IPL. I'm sorry. I'm very confused. Where was Dave Warner and Steve Smith when it came to playing for Australia versus the West Indies and Bangladesh? Where were they?
Behram, you first.
I have no answer to that question.
Oh, well,
Firstly,
Dave Warner
Norman,
was
I really don't know what is the situation regarding the Australian team. Okay. These
the
guys have
best.
been included in the World T20 squad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Warner and Smith.
Yeah.
But what happened to that previous statement? Like, oh, these guys will not have it easy coming back. What has happened to
And
that?
well, I'll tell you something very two major public relations blunders from Steve Smith. Forget Cricket Australia. Let's just talk about Steve Smith. Two stupid things he said. He tried to make himself look good. At the moment, we've got Dave Warner and his family on every single magazine, all these pretty shots of the three children. It's a real smoothing attempt to win him over. Okay, Steve Smith comes out about in June or something. Hi, guys. Here are these two young 12-year-old kids with cricket bats. Here I am in a park in Waverley. Ben Horn has suddenly turned up. He decided to ask me a few questions. I've said, I'm going to pledge to be the next Australian captain. Am I a good man? Look at me with these young kids. I'm so squeaky clean. I'm pledging to be the next captain. Then 5 minutes later, Justin Langer says, sorry, what was that about? I'm sorry, I don't know anything about this. What the hell is Steve Smith doing saying he's going to be captain? We don't want him as captain. We've got Tim Payne. And then Tim Payne also said it. Major blunder on Steve Smith's part. Then he said, to further make it look stupid, I'm going to give up on the World Cup. I'm going to stay in Australia for the Ashes.
Ashes, yes.
Hint, hint, captain. Hint, hint, hint. Okay, how wonderful. What happens now? He's playing in the World Cup. Oh,
Yes.
he's playing the IPL. Oh, he didn't go to the West Indies and Bangladesh. What a political and public relations disaster.
And all the fury on Langer has died down now, isn't it? All the fury on Langer has died down.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. Okay, West Indies are the two-time World T20 champions, for crying out loud. You needed your best side to combat them. You needed your best side. Why they didn't send bio-bubble problems? Because of the mental fatigue of the bio-bubble? I don't think so, number one. Number two, Bangladesh, again in the subcontinent where you'll be having kind of similar conditions, kind of, not totally similar. You flounder against spin, you've not done well there for 13 years. You don't send your best batsman there. You think IPL is going to overcome all your technical frailties? No, it's not. Dave Warner, classic example, Dave Warner, legendary IPL player, but against India in ODIs and T20s in India, a complete failure. I asked that question to him in Bangalore in 2017. I'd asked him that question. He said, that's a really good question. I have no idea why this happens. He has no idea.
Look, they're making tens of millions of dollars. I think Warner's worth 40, Smith's worth 40, Michael Clark's worth 40, Pat Cummins is well and truly going to 40. They've got oodles of money coming out of their ears, right?
But Pat is not playing in the IPL, I guess. Pat is not playing.
Oh, but how many years has he been playing? How much money has he made? He was in the first 29 matches, wasn't he? He was there for that, wasn't he? Yes.
He was there for the first 7. Yep, he was there for the first 7.
On.
He wouldn't be there for
He's still getting a lot of money. He's still getting a lot. Oh, he didn't get 20. He only got 10. Oh, I'm so sad for you. I mean, look, the reality is the Australian World Cup team, squad, whatever, has not played as a team for I don't know how long, right?
I think over a year.
Not together in the West Indies and Bangladesh. So how is that good preparation for a World Cup? It's not. And they're going to suffer. They're not going to make the top 4. Simple. Very simple.
The only teams that probably look stable, which had no major surprises, is India, number 1. I think only India. No other team, because if you look at South Africa, no Duplessis. No Duplessis in that.
Oh,
your best player is not there.
And Tahir is a very good bowler. Sorry? Yeah.
No, Chris Morris also, right? Chris Morris.
No Morris.
Yeah. Can you explain that to me, please? He was worth a squillion in the IPL, but he can't get picked for his country.
He is the most economical death end bowler right now in the whole world in T20s. He's the most economical death end bowler in the whole world.
But is he white, not black? Is that the question? I'm sorry. This quota system is dumb. And that's not a racial comment. That's just the lunacy. Pick your best side. If they're all African, African derivation, fantastic. If they're all white, fantastic. If they're all blue, fantastic. If it's the best player, pick them. Simple. It's not about racial inequality at all.
2015.
They just
2015,
need
Norman.
to be,
That should have been your red signal. Stop it. But they have not learned it.
I mean, look, if Australia was a totally Aboriginal cricket side, I would be ecstatic, because Aboriginals are the most gifted athletes in sport you've ever seen. They play rugby league and a lot of sports. They are the most gifted athletes. And I would be happy because they would be brilliant at cricket. And they generally are. There are a number of very good. I mean, we have got quite a few, I think. Let me think of the people who are that background. Jason Gillespie was one. Andrew Simons. We can go on. There's a list of them, are great players. And you know what's most intriguing at the moment is Papua New Guinea. Okay, the USA beat them. Papua New Guinea, watch out when it comes to natural sporting talents. Oh my God, they're playing cricket at the level of which is borderline. They're top 20 as far as I'm aware. They're about to make the World Cup. They're in the World Cup qualifier, aren't they?
Yep, they are.
They are part of the World Cup.
That's huge. That's huge. So, okay, please explain. When are the qualifiers happening? They're happening now, are they?
17th. Though you mean the World T20 qualifiers to get into the Super 12s?
Yeah.
17th October.
So, but who have we got there? Who are the teams? We've got
Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Ireland,
Papua New Guinea,
Papua New Guinea, Oman, Netherlands,
Ireland.
Yeah, Ireland are there in that. Yep. Papua New Guinea is there. Scotland, 6 teams in total.
But I mean, isn't
Namibia,
it exciting?
Namibia.
I think it's 12 teams, 6 in each group, 2 go.
Yeah. So, but I'm saying it's exciting. Papua New Guinea. In the girls, they had Thailand doing really, really well. That's exciting. These are countries that are not known for their cricket. How exciting is that? It's brilliant.
Thailand, in fact, the Thailand women's team had the best winning streak in T20s. They won 17 on the bounce.
Wow.
Even better than Australia. But now that's been taken over by Meg Lanning's side. 23 on the bounce.
So what I'm getting at, guys, is I don't really care. I'll be honest with you. I don't care. If Sri Lanka fall apart and they're never to be in the top 10 again, it's sad, but there's going to be countries that are going to step up to the mark and will develop cricket in the future. We have to acknowledge those teams and not worry that, I mean, who was it? Kevin Peterson said there'll be only 4 test play nations. That's rubbish. But you know what will happen? If any of the test teams so-called fall, like Sri Lanka, out comes Oman, out comes the USA, out comes Papua New Guinea, out comes whoever. That's exciting. I think that's exciting, don't you? Out comes Malaysia. I don't care. I don't care who the countries are. If they're the best countries in the world, bring them into play.
But again, test match cricket, I mean, it was tried. I mean, Afghanistan came to India. The quality that they produced was pretty sad. Got over in 2 days. The risk that you carry in getting all these other teams is perhaps the quality of test cricket might not happen. And there may be injuries. People are not suited. The first class system in all these countries, because remember, most of the teams, T20 is marketed the most, not test cricket.
Okay,
so
but you get my point though. I appreciate what you're saying, but I don't want Sri Lanka to fall. I don't want South Africa to fall or whatever. I don't want them to fall, but hopefully there are teams pushing for selection to replace them or be equal to them. That would be a good thing.
Yep, definitely. Maybe once in a while, one test match, say, like how, if suppose Oman make it, maybe one test match against New Zealand, one test match against the West Indies. Once in a while. Why not? One test match in a year or 2 test matches in a year. It doesn't hurt.
We almost do that.
Or maybe for test, just for tests, maybe have a conglomerate team of really good players like Ireland and West Indies. They are a conglomerate team of countries. Maybe these countries do it. I don't know,
I
weird
mean,
thought.
there's nothing wrong with having. I mean, you may not agree, but if we had a team called Asia, now of course there's a lot of countries in Asia, I get that, but if you had a certain group of countries that brought them together, it's like they strive to be better. Like a player from Malaysia, Hong Kong, God knows, you name the
Singapore.
teams, bring them together. That would be a great idea. Why not?
Each
Why
of
not
these
you?
countries have 2-3 good players. Each country
Yeah.
has 2-3 good players.
Why don't you have, as Behram would say, as said, a conglomeration? Say the likes of Namibia, Scotland, Malaysia, Singapore. They all form a World 11 kind of a thing. Play the
Yeah.
World 11 against West Indies, against New Zealand, against South Africa. Equal
Why not?
representation. 1-1-2-2 guys from Namibia, from Oman, from Hong Kong. At least they would help in developing the system much more better, isn't it?
But we have to look. We have to address the situations in Sri Lanka and South Africa to start with. The ICC has to come in, not override the country, but be able to influence or be fair about what they do. The biggest problem they've got, the ICC at the moment, is definitely Afghanistan. Because the under-19 Afghanistan team played the under-19 Bangladesh team in the last couple of days. Now, how come that's being played when Australia are talking about not playing Afghanistan later in the year? You can't have a double standard, or can you? Or do you allow Afghanistan to play against countries which tolerate the Taliban approach to their way of running? I mean, I have to respect the fact I'm not a Taliban fan at all, but I have to respect something here, that I'm not here to tell what a country should do. Okay, if they want to play against Bangladesh, go ahead and do it. Okay, but what we can't do is, I suppose, with women's cricket, we have to address the situation there, that they have to be told, hey guys, this is what the case is. You want to be in or out, you make up your mind, but you're going to have to conform. Okay?
I mean, again, the Ministry of Culture in the Taliban said women can't play cricket. It's not their job. So if the women's program has floundered in Afghanistan, then that's it. So
Well,
Australia's decision to not host the
See, there was that comment, but after that I saw that for cricket they have actually made a separate stadium they made for women to play. That's what happened afterwards. So the statement was actually no sports allowed at all. But for cricket, I know surprisingly they have already made facilities, a separate stadium where only women will go.
The reason why they allow cricket in Afghanistan is because it conforms to their cultural modesty values. It doesn't show too much of skin. It's like, but I don't know whether they'll be allowed to play in the hijab or all these things. I don't know. But there is no showing of skin. It doesn't show that, they're improperly dressed. They don't have that much of contact. I mean, it's a proper gentleman's game. So cricket has always had value in Afghanistan, even during the Taliban days. But whether they will allow women to go that extreme step and say go out of the country and all this, that's another thing altogether.
But look at Bangladesh, which is heavily Muslim. Okay, they condone the women's cricket. Malaysia, the girls wear covered components for their hair if they're that culture. It seems to work there. So there is a place for this. If the Afghani women, if we can sort this out and we can say, right, the Afghani women are covered up totally, even to the, I'll be extreme now and say it's covering their face, only their eyes are visible. It's uncomfortable, but they still could play. Well, good. That's what it would be good still. I mean, you know what, they could talk. They wouldn't be, if they were talking badly about the other team, nobody would say anyway because their mouth would be covered, so they'd probably get away with it. I mean, I'm being flippant there, but there's not exactly. I totally respect, even if the Taliban government has this attitude about covering their face. Well, then the players do it. As long as they can play, if they have to only play if they're covered, well, that's it. I haven't got a problem with that.
Iran also has a lot of girl athletes who follow all the requirements and play many sports.
Yeah, look, Afghanistan's situation is very unique. We can't comment, but I don't think it's smart that we grandstand all over them. Because let's be honest, the girls in Afghanistan are like girls all over the world. They should be given the chance to play if that's what happens. and listen to their own country's cultures and cover up, I respect that. But if they want to play, I respect that too. That's all. Anyway, going back to this test series, guys. There's something I was defending the BCCI. I'm not defending the BCCI at all. BCCI are not the ones that are at fault here. They're not at fault. BCCI are not at fault. They're doing whatever they can to try and make it happen. They could have easily said, we're not playing, series over, bad luck, Lancashire. But they're not doing that.
See, one way I feel that Test cricket is losing out here, Norman. I'll tell you why. And there is a reason behind both the boards behind it. Like what BCCI is doing is correct also, and ECB is doing is correct. If you see, there was a 9-day gap between the third and the fourth test, or the second and the third, for the 100. Let's imagine that gap was not there, and this thing happened before then this test would have easily happened, because there would have been a cushion for the IPL, for the quarantine and everything. So equally, like if ECB is saying you are prioritizing the IPL, ECB is claiming that BCCI, or people are saying IPL is prioritized. ECB also prioritized the 100. Why did it keep such a long gap between the tests?
Of course. And I'll be really honest with you. At this moment in time, the 100 means nothing to the rest of the world. It's not a sanctioned tournament that all the world are playing the 100. It's purely in English, which is, and I commend them for doing it, but that's not, we don't have to prioritise that. It's like prioritising the Canadian Premier League or something. Well, that's not relevant. I mean, you're right, Baram. It's a very good point. Had we had the matches earlier, had the 100 not happened, blah, 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 we may have had the whole thing done as well. So, yeah, you're right. The reality is we can't blame anyone. We've had COVID-19 hit the world. We've had a congested time frame. Things are happening in a wacky way all over the place. I totally commend what India have done. I don't commend people complaining about them. And for anyone who suggests they're doing something deliberately wrong, that's rubbish. For them thinking about money, well, the world's thinking about money. So that's rubbish as well. You can't. I mean, why does Thailand allow tourists to come into Thailand at the moment if they get COVID tested? Blah blah blah. They do, but Australia won't let you go near a resort at the moment.
Even New Zealand, right? Because of the surge. Even New Zealand.
Yeah, I mean New Zealand. See, this is the irony. New Zealand, and Australia were the big countries that did really well, had low zero cases. Aren't we unbelievable? Now we're in lockdown frenzy.
Yeah.
Whereas the rest of the world are vaccinated, going out and being normal, you know.
And what I heard, Norman, in spite of the lockdown, still cases are increasing, right? That's the irony, that it's lockdown, still cases are increasing.
It's even more disgusting because a lot of the cases are going up in the so-called western part of Sydney, which is a lower socio-economic area, okay? The eastern suburbs, where I am, is the more arty-farty, richer, well-educated type of area, they're saying, right? And they're saying, oh, we're clean, but out there it's got the dirty germs. Well, that's so dumb. It's just so dumb. I mean, it's just dumb. I can assure you, late at night in Sydney, even though everyone was locked down, people are sneaking out, going all over the place. It's hypocritical to say it's one person, one area. The reality is, where numbers are going up, we've been slack and not getting vaccinated. We're now 44% double vaccinated, which is awful. We'll get up to maybe 70 by December, maybe, just in time for the cricket, okay? Which means you'll be able to walk around normally if you're vaccinated. So it's just, and New Zealand are starting, their case numbers are rising through the roof too. Well, comparatively rising. It's still low, but, you know, here we are.
650 active cases for New Zealand. It's a killer blow. 650 active cases.
That's well, anyway, if both countries got vaccinated 6 months ago when we were zero, we would have gone through this entire period without any lockdown. But no, we stupidly had a prime minister who wouldn't know whether he farted or not. He's got no intelligence at all. He is nincompoop. He allows every state to do their own thing. If you're running India, Sid, right? If you're running India, does your prime minister of your country allow Maharashtra to do something different too.
It's
Yes.
that way.
Yes.
Each state has its own rules. It's
Because
not
the federal system, if the center takes command of a catastrophe like this, it says, oh, you have impinged on our state's federal rights. So that means a death of democracy in the country. So
Yeah, but
in the
when it
second
comes to
wave,
something,
he just gave up and said, okay, let the states do whatever they want to do.
but that's honestly stupid, because if there's a war in India or Australia, do we suddenly say that, oh, Maharashtra, we're not touching, it's over in Kolkata, it's in Chennai? We can't do that.
No, there are certain aspects. Let's not get into politics, but simple answer: there are certain aspects where the center overrules, but there are certain aspects where states have their say.
Same in Australia, but we made a mistake.
Yeah, but coming back to Australia, what I understood, even one more thing, that initially the government itself said that don't take the AstraZeneca vaccine because it's not good, and now the government is saying, oh, you don't know, now you take. So people are like fully. So that is something which is drastically wrong. Something is wrong in the system.
It's like,
so
like giving
what is
giving
Australia
a
taking
2-year-old
then?
child.
Pfizer or AstraZeneca? What is
I
Australia
had
taking?
Pfizer.
Right now, both
Same
are there.
reason
But
in the US.
yeah, but Sid, initially they said that don't take AstraZeneca, it's not good. There are but problems and this and that. But afterwards, now when there are cases rising, they're saying no, now you take. So people are confused.
And we're getting
Yeah.
radio advertisements in Sydney saying, if you're in Sydney, you want to come to Victoria, you better be tested. I'm going, who the hell is this person telling me what to do? It's really stupid. But you're right. I always compare it to a badly bruised apple that has one good spot. And you go to a young 2-year-old, here you are, darling. It's a lovely apple. Oh, it's a bit bruised, but take the middle bit. They're not going to touch it, are they? That's what happened to AstraZeneca. Oh, don't touch it. Oh, yeah, now touch it. Now, we should have thrown it in the garbage bin, really. I mean, anyway, it's just... And our Prime Minister, when it came to Pfizer, had a fight with the CEO or whatever of Pfizer about the costings and blocked him. So they said, we're not taking your Pfizer. They cost too much. What a mistake that was. And it took another Prime Minister to smooth it over so we can get the supplies again. When he's spending thousands of dollars a day on every person now, which if he got the vaccines early, we would have saved money, even if they charge us 10 times too much.
Garib Bankar has an interesting comment. Has there any series where Indian players remained COVID-free? IPL, Sri Lanka, now England.
Whereabouts is that? Amrit Singh is... now, let's get stuck in Amrit. He's saying, just started to brief again, lads. Just joined in. What? I got to start back from the beginning because you joined in late? Sorry, what are you talking about? Oh, hello. Here we go. Sarju Manjul saying, Norman, you are sounding like a Indian superfan. Superfans never make sense. No, I'm not. No, it's all right. Okay. Another thing was happened. You know, we every day at 11 a.m., our state premiers come out and they stand in front of a dais. And so today we've got 1,253 cases and 9 dead. They've stopped it finally because it was the biggest public relations disaster. We didn't need to hear that. Just send the stat through. To make it such a sensational thing has made us all numb to it rather than helped us. Does your Prime Minister come out every day and tell the numbers?
No, nobody.
No.
Now I think nobody's even looking at the numbers, Norman. Like,
it's too huge. It's too huge. I can understand it's still in 5 digits, Norman, in your case. It's just in 5 digits. But ours is in 6 digits. Second worst in the world after the US.
Around 40. But some countries like Germany and they have in fact stopped. They have said we are stopping testing. This number whole concept makes no sense. Counting cases makes no sense. Which in a way is right also. It's just becoming what they're saying, that this cases is just becoming academic. It has nothing to do with this. In the end, is how well is your system, how well is your debt. Counting cases makes no sense.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Now, Gareth Banker says, what's the result of the series? What's going on? The series is ruined. The series is not ruined. India played fantastically. They should be proud of the way they played. They've effectively won the Patali Trophy. They've won it. No matter what anyone says, they've won it. I can't... No one's going to be able to tell me 1 year later if England beat India that they've drawn the series. No. No one's going to accept that. We all know morally and figuratively and by whatever calculation, the winner of the series has been India. And England's Root and Silver were the first to say that.
I think why ECB is also going with this forfeit is more to do with the money, right? I don't think it's more to them for getting the series. It means like drawing the series off is separate, but I think the main thing why they're talking is the forfeit because of the amount. So that they can. But if I am the insurance company, won't I argue that this is ridiculous just by calling? How do you name it? Like arbitrarily, you decide you will name it like this, you will get the money. Arbitrarily, you will decide you name it this, and you will not get the money.
Okay, guys, I want to talk about the series now. Okay, what are 5 memorable things of the series? Forget the COVID. 5 memorable things of the series for you. Sid, you start.
Number one would be Bumrah's performance in this whole series. Simply sensational. Once again reaffirmed, you can't write him off so fast. Be it with the bat also. Let us remember, Bumrah set the tone with that partnership in Trent Bridge. That was one. Second memorable moment for me would be KL Rahul's stun at Lords. Very, very important. Third, Rohit Sharma's first overseas stun, finally, after so many years, that one. 4, the mastery of James Anderson. Once again showed that he is the best. But yeah, second innings, if you put him on, he's like, I think I'll only manage 1 innings. And 5th and final would be the batting of Joe Root. Missed the chance of eclipsing the Don, but he still has 4 tests potentially to become the leading run getter in a calendar year. Hope that happens. Those are my 5.
Viran?
For me, Bumrah, yes, number 1. Number 2 would be KL Rahul. I would say we have got a strong opening right now. Number 3 will be Shardul.
I would have agreed with Shardul. Yes,
it's a huge. We have a huge potential over there. Then Rohit, I'll say 5 for India, 5 for England. Then Rohit obviously is scoring his first ton, and I would also say Pujara coming back to form. For me, I would say he's I would say back in form, which is a good thing. For England, I would say Root, of course, by miles. Number 2, I would say Ollie Robinson. He's coming out really well, and he's I would say the next Anderson for them. The way is going on. 3 would be obviously Anderson bowling in the first innings. Then that's the problem with England. I can only think of 3, or 3 only come to mind. So that's where India has taken them in the series.
Maybe the return of Hasib Hamid back.
No, his batting looks. He scored a 60 and that 50, I believe, right, or 60. But it was very jittery. I did not, by looking at him batting, really did not feel like I'm seeing a good batting performance or something. It's not as if he dragged himself to that score, but there was no fun actually. So it did not impress me that much. And the point was that where England were, if you see the 1, 2, 3 were so bad that someone came and did something, it looked good. It was something like that. It means you were so down that anything would have looked good. That was the situation.
Indeed.
I mean, I have to say Kohli's captaincy was excellent. The relationship with Shardul Thakur to winning matches, he seems to have a knack of doing something right when it's needed most, whether it's bat or ball. And he did that at the Gabba as well. His 60 with Washington Sundar was extremely important. And he seems to be an unsung hero because I would argue he was the man of the match in that last match, not Rohit Sharma. Even though Rohit played fantastically well, I think Shardul Thakur's overall performance was up there. I know Bumrah was also, but look, I was very impressed with the stability of the Indian batting lineup. The Rahul-Rohit Sharma opening combination was brilliant. I think the bowling unit as such, the non-selection of Ashwin, despite everyone thinking badly of it, ended up being, you would argue, a masterstroke. And I think David Graven, he said it the best. The inclusion of Jadeja to bowl over the wicket and to scuff the ball on one side allowed the bowlers to bowl with reverse swing in the last innings. I never thought of that, but apparently the way that Jadeja delivers the ball, he scuffs one side of the ball up. And that was an observation by David Graven. And they believe that his bowling allowed the ball to be scuffed up in a certain way. Now, if that is true, which I believe it is, that's a master stroke.
He also bangs it into the pitch. His action or his way is that he bangs it into the pitch, which definitely adds into the using the sand to rub the ball in a legal way.
I'm getting people saying, I've got a comment saying that I'm backing Kohli all the time. I don't want to be seen as that. I don't want to be seen as I'm backing Kohli blindly at all. But I mean, I look at his record and I have to be fair to the man. I think he's made some captaincy mistakes, yes. His own batting performance is not 100%, but his record still stands strong. But the overall Indian team is amazingly strong. And there's that book that's come out called Mission Domination, which is true. India's time to dominate the last 3 or 4 years, probably the next 4 or 5 years. Same with Australia in the 90s. Same with West Indies in the 70s. It's just that's the way. This was the 70s. I'd be talking highly about the West Indies all the time. If it were the 90s, I'd be talking about Australia highly. Unfortunately, I can't talk highly about Australia at the moment because they've imploded. They're getting beaten by Bangladesh and the West Indies away from home. It's not good.
In Test cricket, I've seen at least till what I can't go too back. Maybe Sid can help. But every decade there has been a team who has well noted. The reason being because they are the only team who are expected to go out and beat the other team at the home conditions. Right now, it's only India, which is the fact. You can't say that of any other Test team right now because New Zealand also has not proven themselves in going to another place and beating in a good Test series, not a 2-off Test series. Yes, they did it against England in England, but they need to do it more if they want to come to that category of India right now.
Yeah.
But the old the saying goes, if your team's at its peak, make the most of it. And that happens. I mean, Australia are not good. South Africa's not good. Sri Lanka's not good. West Indies, there's a resurgence going on, I would argue. England's been fantastic. India's been fantastic. New Zealand's been fantastic. You've got just periods where teams do well. I mean, for years, New Zealand were rated lowly, weren't they? They were always also around. They're not anymore.
Yep.
I would actually Arpan here is making some points that to conclude.
Stokes takes a break. People praise him for mental health. India doesn't play as they are not mentally ready because of COVID and camp as they have infants and the families. They get criticised. It is. We're sympathetic for Ben Stokes, yet we're not sympathetic for the Indian players. I agree. Okay, so do you want to leave, do you? That's fine. I'm going to end the show pretty early today as well. I think we go sometimes long, which is good. We've got something. This is more of a debrief, but I'm very happy with you guys. You've been fantastic supporters. We'll talk more. I mean, we'll see how we go. The IPL's the next chapter. Obviously, the World Cup's another huge chapter. Then on we go from there. I'd like to thank you, Bharat and Sid. Fantastic. Really appreciate both of you. So thank you for your time. Sid and
Thanks,
Bharat,
Norman.
anytime, you're always welcome. You know that.
Let's hope World T20 Dubai, us both. Let's hope.
Oh, that'll be fantastic. I'm excited. It'll be a great tournament.
Yep.
Certainly.
Yep.
Let's hope there's no COVID problems.
Yeah,
then
indeed.
There is T20 next year also, right? World T20.
Yeah, in Australia.
So
Is it the World T20 again next year?
Yep,
yeah,
in Australia, 2022. The one which was supposed to be held in 2020 was postponed to 2022 because of the COVID situation.
Right.
So the winner of this World Cup right now won't hold the trophy much long.
Much longer, yes.
That is funny, isn't it? It almost makes it look silly.
And 2023 is the ODI World Cup in India, right? Or again in Australia?
Yes. No, in India.
In India. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was in England. No.
No, please, no more in England. Enough. No more in England. I mean,
Well,
yes, it's
there's
a great
an
place to play cricket, but because of the weather, no.
England problem is 50% of the discussion happens on the weather, Now with
Yeah.
COVID, 50% is COVID, 50% is weather. So cricket has less space open.
The
Yeah,
reality
indeed.
is though that there's going to be an Ashes in 2023, which I'll be going to. So hopefully.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. I
Okay, bye
appreciate
bye.
it.
I said
Bye,
bye.
bye,
Ciao,
bye,
ciao. See
Bairam.
you,
Bye,
buddy.
bye, bye,
See you, bro. Thanks,
bye,
guys.
Bairam. Bye, bye, Norman.
See you soon. Take care.
Yeah. You too, Norman. You too.
I'm going to stay a bit longer. It's great to have Bahram Irani and Siddharth Vishwanathan, both great people to have to discuss things. Would have liked more English content. We'll get that later. So you got me for a bit longer. How will they manage a huge bowl with the players? Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I don't know how that's going to work. It's going to be messy. Interview Vikrant Gupta. He says Virat and Shasha was wrong. Well, I need to find out more about what he thinks there. Okay. Yeah, let's hope so too. Positive from the series from me, lower order contribution. Purun Jay Shadi, that's a very good comment. They, the way that, Shami and Bumrah batted and even Umesh Yadav, great effort. Stokes and Archer will join that problem if match happens next year. Of course. So then how could it be the same series? It doesn't make any sense. All true, but Kohli's biggest strength is his adaptability. He can change his game. He's too good to let it. He does certainly adapt well. We must give him that, don't we? Very much so. It's very much the case. You're right. So, guys, we've all good. All good. So please, guys, if you're here on the show and you haven't, I'm getting regulars, I think, more than new people. So view, like, and share the posts and tell people about it. Subscribe, hit the notification button, go to my Twitter handle, which is at Norm Koch there, and my Instagram. Yeah, he's still timing the ball. He's hitting some magnificent shots. For me, the biggest positive is not carrying the ghost of the past when they were down at the end of the third. Exactly. And we're seeing they came back. Their bounce back ability is very, very significant. You're right. That's a big plus for this team. And it's thanks to everyone for that, including the coach, the captain, the whole lot. They've all contributed greatly to that situation, for sure. All right, guys. I've had enough for today. I've been on 2 shows. I've talked about we had a book show earlier about Mission. What was it called? Mission Domination. The Unfinished Quest. Yeah, I'll just wait and see. Yeah, 1 week ago they were thanking Virat Kohli and it seemed to have been very intelligent. Yeah, it's a bit weird. Shami, Bumrah, Shadal, Amrish, lower. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if they pull that because of revenge, that's just childish, isn't it? Yeah, there's a lot to be said for all this, guys. All right. It's a Mission Domination booklet that you all didn't have a look at, did you? Not that many people saw that, which is a pity because it's a very, very, very commendable book. Have a look at that, guys, if you haven't watched that. Pity Norman in the show, since it does not play, he will be out of the ideas on what to talk about. And ignores the teams that most probably will take. Absolute Ruban Loganathan, that's absolute crap, you idiot. Absolute idiot. I've talked about all sorts of cricket. Australia, England, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. What are you talking about? You obviously have no clue what you're talking about. And I don't like someone being so ridiculous. I'm just going to I can't wait. Read what comment you made. We'll note that, mate. Idiot. Gill and Sundar will be back if India play England Test in 20. Exactly. So will Ben Stokes. So where's the similarity in the comp? India didn't think about COVID during Sri Lanka tour, though. Exactly. Because equally has been bad. It's just bad luck. Send me a copy, Norman, of the book. Of what? Of the book. Luckily, Norman, India plays all the time. You talk about England versus New Zealand tests also. Ignore these trolls. Exactly. Why aren't they confirming the status of the series, Norman? Shouldn't have asked for the trophy before leaving? Well, it is a bit insulting. I think it is insulting. They won 2-1, and the last match would not have gone their way. So, upon how can I send you a copy of Mission Domination when I haven't got any copies? I'm only getting the one copy. No, I only have the one. I've got no copies of it. I've only got the one copy there at Buri because he was in Sydney. But I'm getting this fellow here, this Kushan Shaka. He's sending me one copy. I don't think he'll be sending me more than one copy. So I've got to message him. So that's it. All right. Standard players for me: Root, Sharma, Rahul, Shah. Exactly, I would agree with those. Pilt and Jason did that. Root dominated. You introduced me to Ireland cricket of both Sri Lanka and West Indies. Not to speak of all those from England and Australia that regularly join us. Ignore the comment. Exactly. Thank you, Amarish Singh. The reality is I bring everybody on the show. I'm supporting India because they're doing well. They deserve it. They deserve the accolades. A team that's doing well deserves the accolades. If Australia were doing well, I'll be giving them comment. But they've been imploding, and I'm very frustrated with Australia. They're a team that really, could be a lot better. But some of their best players are carrying. I mean, the whole sandpaper gate has really ruined approach. It really is. It's been really bad. So yeah, I'm a very unbiased commentator, guys. I don't care about India, Sri Lanka. I don't care about cricket. All right, guys. We got messaged him 2 copies. Australia's not doing well in the calendar year. They haven't played in the calendar year. They've only played. They've only played the game against the Gabba was quality on the show. In generally, it's good for audio podcasts. It's true. He's a fantastic speaker. What about the main white ball players? They did not come to go. Yeah, it's still unacceptable. Most by my favourite team. Well, I'm Australian, so it has to be Australia, but they're not playing well. I certainly support India. I used to have lots of time for Sri Lanka, but I've lost interest because of the way they've been administered. It's been terrible. Very sad. Very, very sad indeed, guys. Yeah, it certainly is. It's been on the disappointing side, that's for sure. What is the update on the England series? Swastik Dut? Well, there's been no real update. It looks as though they're still trying to work out a date to play the 5th test somewhere potentially in 2022. In my opinion, this test series should be finished at 2-1. It will not be 2-all. It'll only be 2-all if they play that 5th match and India lose. So it's unlikely. Best 4 for sure will be India, England, West Indies. There are 3. 4th will be between Pakistan and New Zealand. Thank you. I mean, he's brilliant. This stands 2-1 to be played 5th test next year. It's just such a ridiculous time. So anyway. West Indies, India, England, Pakistan. It's very similar to mine. I would agree with that one. Do you know Akash Chopra? I know Akash Chopra. I know him very well. A couple of years ago, I would pick him every morning he was staying in Coogee. We'd get up and have a coffee or a juice and have a chat. We know him pretty well. India team says they will follow rules. Exactly. If there was no Bible and they went there and they got it, was just bad luck. Why are you at Australia's chance? Because they're not performing well, Abhishek. They got smashed by the West Indies and by Bangladesh. The team hasn't been together. They're going to play their first team together in the World Cup. It's just too much lack of preparation. We'll see a difference, but they won't win. They won't win. I can assure you of that. Just doing that. All right. I watched his mission domination. Okay, good. I don't have it been. It's been following you since almost 1.5 years. Love your objective and unbiased views. Haters going to hate. We're all with you. Don't react. Just be different. Yeah, you're right. But I'm passionate as well. What about Australian T20? Because they have always dominated us. Us at Jubble, they haven't actually dominated the T20 at all. It's been the ODI they've actually done so. Do you see football? Yes, I saw my rugby league team, South Sydney Rabbitohs. They won their semi-final. I think Shaka Dawans. Chahal hadn't been bowling well for some while. What will Indian players do when they all be COVID cases and uphill? Well, they better do the same thing. Bubble already produced. Well, there was no bio bubble as we're hearing in England. Hello, Aussie, uncushed second. There was no bio bubble in there. They've stopped that. And in all fairness, there's only really so much you can do these days with bio bubbles. There's only so much which we can acceptably do. Yeah, it's going to be a Nazi cameras. I don't know what it means. So really, India have unofficially. Let's go. I have the worst computer. Okay. I'm disappointed with ECB and Australia Board. Yeah, I am too somewhat. The bubble that I did. Exactly, yeah, it's true. They got it. News from QuickBuzz: the upcoming Pac New Zealand ODI series will not be part of the World Cup Super League due to unavailability of DRS. Okay. Why do you like the Indian side? I like any side. It's good because they're performing well. Exactly. After every week, Virat says the word bench shot. What does it mean? I don't know. You tell me. Tell me what it means. Where's your head? Just what? Yeah, we Mr. Perfect finish. I would agree with that. What if that's just probably later because of someone who can carry? That's the point. If they stay, they might end up staying 10 plus days in isolation. Yeah, fair enough. I think so. If he's still fit, yes. It's slang, is it? Okay. I don't know what the slang means, though. Oh, good. Okay. So the slang bench shot means slang. I'm not sure. Am I saying a rude word, guys? I don't know. You guys are feeding me some bad words to say. That's not good at all. Yeah, the book titling wasn't very good, was it? But it still was a great book, though. It's hidden expletive. That's wonderful. That's not what I wanted to say. So what's the guarantee they won't be tested for the... I don't understand that. I actually don't know about that point at all. I'm afraid I don't understand that point. Getting comments here that are not nice. But the Sounding Rabbitohs one, you'll tell me on Instagram. Okay, good. All right. You shouldn't play me for silly when you give me a word that you know that's not right and make me say that's not very nice. All players in England will be undergoing quarantine. See our franchise report. I don't doubt that. Of course not. Norman, do you know why Vera keeps saying the word? I don't want to. So if it's another rude word, I don't want to talk about it. Are you going to the T20 World Cup in this mega tournament? I want to, but will I be allowed to? It's been a $1 million question for some time now. Australia's next series, well, forgetting the IPL World Cup, meant to be playing Afghanistan. We're not doing that. Next will be the Ashes. Yeah, I have to agree. It has been made into a big, ridiculous, no big deal. Shouldn't be made a big deal. Correct. That one. Okay. The World Cup, and there's the whole bloody team. You got all the old players, like the Dwayne Bravos and the Gales and Andre Russells and all of those players. Vera Coley said, when I refer to an attacking game, I'm hit. There's no problem with it. Don't worry, Norman. T20 World Cup, you can surely be all covering live. Exactly. It is true that Ashes is not happening. No, the Ashes are happening at this point. Since it was in touch with physical injury. Yeah, that's interesting. Is Biryani of Sangeeta Paul? Yes, it certainly is. Why did West Indies get back at rugby? They're getting back a lot of ex-players. He was a great, reliable bowler. Maybe that's why he's there. Continue Pujara is a warrior at heart. He certainly is. What is the meaning of Baram? Ask Baram that question. Earlier there was provisions from bubble to bubble. Yeah, it's a bit awkward now. How the COVID situation in Australia now? It's bad. 1,400 cases, they were all in lockdown. Robert Chan, best white ball batsman. He's probably the best test batsman at the moment too. Well, second and third spinner, Adam Zampa, Agar, Swapson, I don't know. Oh, Baram equals victory, does it? Oh, yeah. What's my age? My age is Baram. I'm victorious. I don't know. The Ashes venues. Sydney, Melbourne has an SCG, MCG, Gabba, Adelaide Oval, and not the WACA, but the stadium over in Western Australia. All right, guys, I've got to go. What are the Ashes now? I was mentioning, what was this? SCG, MCG, Gabba, and Adelaide Oval, and the Grand WA. If there's a positive England 10 days, well, I don't think you do 10 and 1. I don't think that would be necessary. Okay. Is my YouTube channel full-time? It seems like that lately. Probably do it less now. Please tell someone something about places and say you love to visit. My God. Ankush Singh, Sydney, as in the beaches of Sydney along the coastline, Coogee Beach, Blue Mountains, the snow, the Great Barrier Reef, Ayers Rock, Alice Springs, Kakadu, Cable Beach, beaches. So You are so Norman. I'm so Norman. Well, I'm so Norman because I'm Norman. That's right. All right, guys. I think I'm going to go. I think it's now midnight. I think I've had enough. Been on for a long time tonight, so we might go then. All right, goodbye, young fella. Human, how are you, man? You come right in at the end there when you could have been there earlier. $4.91, man. Okay. Australia is a whole lot of nothing between nothing. That's not nice. Only good thing to see then with koalas, kangaroos, and Norman Kochnick I had run too. All right, guys, we're going to say goodnight. Make sure you. That's right. Okay. So, view, like, and share the post. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Hit the notification button at Norm Koch for Twitter and Instagram. We'll see each other in the next few days again. I'll have more. I'm going to see a guy called Max Markson, who's a very famous entrepreneur, entertainer, manager of the Stars. He had Shane Warne and Bill Clinton, all these great people. We're going to go and visit his office with a partner. We're going to have a bit of a chat. So that's one of my next plans. And to go to the South Sydney Rabbitohs. 1:16:10. You beauty. You beauty. Commodore Dragons. That's not Australian. Bye. When will you have your next session on YouTube? Probably tomorrow. Probably tomorrow. Guys, don't write off. All pre and post matches. It will be. It'll be pre and post match to the IPL, and the World Cup will be huge. What is the blue book behind you? That's beyond Barwar. That's Jeffrey Barwar. Jeffrey Barwar is in fact a Sri Lankan architect who designed the infinity pool, the pond pool beach concept with store water. Infinity pool. He created it. And Barwar Hotels. Jeffrey Barwar. Look him up. Jeffrey Barwar. It'll be like 6 p.m. your time in India. Great Barrier Reef. It's also very good. Correct. You can let me go, guys. You've been asking me questions. Pre and post match, yes. Yes. Yeah, yes. Okay. Darwin Lane is replaced by Aiden Markham. What, in the IPL? Okay. 6 p.m. Indian time, correct? 10:30 p.m. my time. Which are you in Australia? Is that where your Puranji substitute? Bowlers. Boa is a nickname from my community. Well, that's very good. Bawa, B-A-W-A. W-A. I'm in Sydney. Oh, are you really? People generally call us Boa. That's your problem if that's a bad word. Remember that. Is that Boa in Philippines or in India? Yeah, all right. What's this logic of finger spinners more effective than the wrist spinners? I don't know whether that's necessarily. A good wrist spinner will win out any day. What about the fans who have purchased tickets for them? I would assume they would, PMO. I would assume they would. Powers India. It means jolly good person. Okay. Community is that Baram, if I may ask. Baram, answer Human's question. You're not letting me go, are you guys? Parsis in India. Parsis are I was talking about finger spinners. Finger spinners are better control. Leg spinners don't. A few questions. What do you want to ask quickly? It's Saturday night, lockdown, nothing going on. That's your problem. Not my problem. Human. All right. Three. The mission domination video you should all watch. Okay, guys. Warrior Puranjay, he's in Sydney, he said. It's over midnight. Get who's next in line for the Aussie captain? It certainly won't be Steve Smith. I'm hoping Curtis Patterson or even a Kawaja or even a Jason Sanger. Let's hope. It's 1 hour 36, guys. I think I've had enough. Don't you? And then, let's be honest, it's Pat Cummins. No, he's a good vice captain, might be a captain. I don't know, Gareth Banker. That's a bit weird. Some countries got 6, some got 14. But I don't understand why different countries at different times. This doesn't make any sense. So what's 4 now? 4 now, 5 now. Where Puranjay Sajiva, whereabouts you you're going to write a book, or have you written any novel? I'm going to write a book on the series with Kuntal Chakraborty. That's the plan. Bring Munchie narration David in your show. That's too late for all them. 4 or 5 days in the maximum incubation period gets detectable by then. Okay. I'm Indian, and that's why I support it. Well, Puranjay Sachdev, whereas she's got her own show, doesn't do much anymore. I'm Indian, and whereabouts Puranjay Sachdev are you staying? What is your topic that you're going to talk about? I've already talked to death about it. Those guys. The whole debrief of the actual test series. Is there any possibility non-Australian coach to coach Australia? I don't think so. So you're getting only one copy then, mission domination. Yes, at this point, upon, I'm very happy to get one book copy. I can't imagine 2 copies. We'll see. Hopefully I'll get more. You can order 2 directly. Yeah, guys, thank you. I've been told to say I've been saying a bad word. Very, very bad. Because bowlers aren't good captains tomorrow, not today. Ram. No, that was this. Okay, guys. All right, I'm heading off. All the best, guys. Take care.